This is a question for both James and for Professor Mariani. I was just wondering how you guys first came across Crane's poetry and what about it spoke to you?
You found him before I did.
I got this one? Okay. When I started teaching about 40 years ago, I came across Hart Crane's work at that time and was puzzled by it, I think like most people, but also drawn to it, very much drawn to it. And I noticed as I spoke to different poets that they all went through a phase with Hart Crane. You know, there was a period when they were just obsessed or deeply absorbed by the figure and the poetry of Hart Crane. And usually it was in their 20s or early 30s. And I remember thinking way back in, maybe 1970, that I was going to write a biography at some point of this guy. Biographies that came out in the 60s did not at all speak about Hart Crane's homosexuality. They just avoided the issue altogether, even though it was like a bull elephant in the room. And it had to be addressed, and I did address it. I addressed the alcoholism. But you know, I also wanted to show the brilliance of that mind, you know, of Hart Crane's mind. The juxtaposition, the way he captures both the sublime, in his language, but also captures something of the idiom of New York City at the same time, and the dance that you get, this kind of double helix dance that Hart Crane is doing with Shakespeare, Marlowe, etc. Go ahead.
I was not in school. I found his poetry about 7 years ago. I was not in school, but I was reading all the time. I was reading too much because I was compensating for having left not finishing my English degree at UCLA. So I just felt like I had to read everything, and I started reading Harold Bloom. A lot of people kind of find him. I guess he's a very smart guy, but anyway, I was reading a lot of him. And he mentioned Hart Crane in one of his books. So then I went and found the collected poems, and then I was having a hard time with them. And Bloom said in the introduction to the poems, if you're having the poems, you'll better understand them if you read Paul Mariani's book, The Broken Tower. And I just, I had this impulse to make this movie, and I would talk about it, but at that time I just was hoping, I guess, that somebody would come along and make it with me, and I would get to act in it. And people aren't rushing out to make movies about poets, and so